Let's go back to that day, September 2014, and you're on the radio. What happened?
Well, I finished my show. It was literally my boss was waiting outside. We've been talking about lots of things about, changing as, you're always talking to your bosses about what's happening on the show. So it wasn't unusual to see him outside the studio, but he just called me outside and just said, hey, look, the police are downstairs. And I was, immediately I thought something to do with the kids or Vicky. And then just said, look, they're here to arrest you.
And that must have been a complete shock for you. Also for you, Vicky, you just returned home from work and you found 7 police officers searching your house. So what was your immediate reaction to that? What did you think? You hadn't spoken to him yet, so what was going through your mind?
Well, pretty much what Neil said. Your first concern is, are my children okay? Is my husband okay? Because you're panicked. You've got a house full of policemen and they've got all your things. They've got your photo albums out on the floor, they've got everything out, searching through your house.
And when you understood the nature of the allegations against him, what did you think? First of all, when you first heard them, what was in your head at that time about your husband?
Well, I knew there was a witch hunt against DJs, so my immediate reaction was, I can't believe, oh, you're going after Neil. You're just going after Neil. He's a DJ and you're going after him.
And what about you, when you heard the charges against you?
Well, clearly I was gobsmacked, it was sort of in the boardroom of work, and they mentioned them very briefly and then took me down to Charing Cross, slapped me in a cell for an hour and a half, while they found a lawyer for me, because I don't have a lawyer, so I had to find one. And, you suddenly go through this process. People were very decent down there, but the process is very scary, it's very intimidating. And so the process began. That was September the 30th, 2014, on bail for 3 months, then on bail for another 4 months. It's like your life's just in limbo. That's what's hard about it, trying to keep the normality of kids are going to school every day, coming back and doing homework. Thank God for them, because they keep you really level. Well,
the reporters were, I think, outside your house even before you'd managed to speak to him, so miraculously managed to find out what was going on. And then sometime later you were 2 months on bail, then you were rearrested, which then reignites the whole thing once again. But the accusations were particularly lurid. I'm not going to read them out here because you've gone through all of that, but they were very lurid.
Look, they're really tough to hear, and they're really awful when you see them on the headline of a paper, because, of course, they do splash out the worst bit that they possibly could and then add the detail inside. I know my daughter and my son, who go to school on public transport, saw these. It's hard for them, of course, so we did have some pretty tough conversations.
And how did they cope with that? What was their reaction to it?
I think they were good. I mean, I was with Scarlett one day when it was the front page of one of the newspapers, and all I could say to her is, just because people say things, it doesn't make it true.
So not back to magic?
No, I wouldn't do that. That was a time, and it was a good time for a bit, and then it's ended, and actually it was time to move on anyway. So I think some other doors have really been opened for us, and we're really cracking on.
Were they supportive throughout the radio station?
I think the word supportive may be a slight overstatement, but I think some organisations handle these things well, some handle them bloody awfully. I think maybe they fell slightly into the latter category on that one, but they're tough. I think the problem is we live in a modern PC world, and a lot of organisations, when they get hit with these, they're wondering what to do, how they should handle it too. So as part of me, if I was the boss, was thinking, this is tricky, what do we do? So as me trying to be, nice to them in a way. It's a hard time for everyone concerned.
A really, really tough time, particularly for the two of you together as a couple, and yet this has not seemed to knock you at all. If anything, your relationship appears stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you go through something together, and there's an amazing feeling, well, for me anyway, when I sat in my garden whilst the police rummaged through my house, you can't help the feeling that I was being attacked, my family was being attacked from the outside, and you just get this tiger instinct or whatever it is to protect your family. My family is Neil and my 3 children, and all I wanted to do was protect my family. So I felt very protective of Neil throughout this, and we were very fortunate. We had lots of amazing support, so we'd come through we knew we'd come through the other side.
We mentioned in the voiceover at the beginning there, you wonder whether or not it should ever have gone to court in the first place. And as it did, Do you think that, because I know that you've helped the Metropolitan Police in their inquiry,
Yeah.
sort of how, in these high-profile cases, could we do it better? Could we do it differently? How were you affected? So what was the conclusion?
Well, I think if one thing came out of this, if you could change one thing, I know they've talked about this indefinite bail period, and I think Paul Gammaccini and many others have been trying to sort that out, and I think there's been movement on that. Partly the anonymity is hard. I think with our modern world of social media and Twitter, Facebook and everything else, when everyone wants to have a say, if you get arrested, like me or anyone else who is in any way the public eye, people like to have their say. And suddenly this wave of social media, of people wanting to have their say, goes out there, and you wonder how to control it and contain it, because...
But they didn't need to arrest you.
They didn't
They could have brought you in for questioning.
But
Neil could have come in
process.
and discussed these things. It didn't need... The whole arrest thing is rather ridiculous, because what they took from our house included a Valentine's card I gave Neil, children's iPads, you know... they're not taking serious big evidence from our house. I don't think they found anything in our house that they used in court.
But I think one thing, you know, if you could try and preserve people's anonymity to start with, then I think the idea of being innocent till proven guilty will be a lot easier to do.
For more of the same, just click here, and don't forget you can subscribe for even more of these amazing videos exclusive to our channel.
And my Olympic training has been 12 years, you know, from Beijing up until now. And to know you haven't got that gold medal at that time, you know, I needed a minute to let that sink in.